I got to get the buttons right. What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on the East Coast. That means it's time for Proper Royals Live. I got Mark from britishcolumbiaballs in the green room, relaxing, getting ready for the show. He'll be on very, very shortly. Stick around. We're both in our second season of breeding, and we're going to talk about what comes around in the second season, what we learned from it, what our goals are this year in the second season, and we might take a sneak peek into the third season too. So be a cool show tonight. Jacksonville, Florida to British Columbia. That might be farther than Jacksonville, Florida to Southampton, England, which was my previous farthest guest. I had to do some, I'll have to check. I'm not sure. So Mark is a really, really good dude. I'm glad to have him on the show tonight. So stick around. We got a good show. Let's see. This week, I got some new snakes up on Morph Market. Check them out if you like. There's some proven breeder males on there that I'm moving along. Nothing wrong with them. I just have their holdbacks have grown up, so those are available. And I got some het yearlings on there too. All double het, I think, actually. Anyhow, check out the Morph Market store. Ton of cool links in the description tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. We got 16 of y'all out of the gate, and hey, it's really good to see everybody. You know, in some ways, I just want to be like, oh, it's the usual suspects, and the other way, like, thank God for the usual suspects. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you all for being here tonight. So we got Mark from British Columbia Balls on tonight. We got next week breaking news. Just sealed the deal. We're going to have Terrence and Keisha from Keys Constrictors are going to be on next Tuesday. Awesome couple, really making some waves, big splashes, big personalities. Holy cow, charisma for lots of charisma. They're very, very cool folks from down kind of my neck of the woods, maybe an hour south of me, between here and Daytona, so not very far, actually. Looking forward. Next week, Keys Constrictors, Terrence and Keisha. And then the following week, I'm bringing back Stephen and Courtney from Leviathan Snakes. We're going to catch up with all that they have going on. They are marketing powerhouses, just past 10,000 Instagram followers on Instagram. You're doing something right if you got 10K on Instagram. So we'll always talk some marketing with them, but really, really passionate snake breeders doing really cool stuff and really positioning themselves in a good place to be the future of the Sunset Project in all of its shapes and forms. So we'll catch up with them and see what's going on. To my left, right there, is Gershon at GPSnakes. He's the sponsor for this week's episode. And I got to tell you, you know, Gershon's available. You can follow him on YouTube. You can follow him on Instagram, on Facebook, and certainly on Morph Market. He is a snake breeder, ball pythons primarily, if not only. He might have some others as well, but I certainly ball pythons primarily. His content's great, but look, yes, he's a sponsor. Yes, there's a transaction here. Yes, I got to talk good about him. But I'll tell you, in all honesty, if you look through my videos, Gershon has done a ton of work with me. He's puts over so much new talent in the industry. He seeks out people just starting on YouTube. He does so much for our hobby and our industry. Do what you can to support Gershon. His links are in the description. He's up in Wisconsin if you ever get a chance to hang out in the northern Midwest with him. But check out Gershon's content, support his pages, support what he does. This hobby is better with dudes like Gershon in it. So thank you for the support, Gershon. Go check out Gershon when you guys get a chance. I was going to tell a story at the start. I had a really, really weird day today, and I don't want to get too specific with it because it involves somebody being just kind of a jerk to me. Our lawn company, we live in an HOA thing. You got to get your lawn done. And anyway, we just got a fence put in. He couldn't get into the fence because there was some debris there. And I actually was going out to talk to him, and I was going to move the debris. And I think that the guy truly was just having a horrible day. Like the look in his eye was like the look on my face, or the way I would feel when it was like Saturday night. I'm 45 minutes deep on a wait. Somebody screaming at me about where their table is, and somebody over here wants to know where their server is. And man, he had a crazy day, I guess. I don't know, but he absolutely unloaded on me. Absolutely told me he was done mowing my lawn. Got so mad, left in such a hurry. This is a little bit funny. Now I'm just picking on him. Left his weed whackers in my lawn, and then had to like come back tail talk to get his weed whackers. But just made me think, man, just give each other a break. I hope the guy's all right. I can't really take him back to do my lawn anymore, but I hope he's all right. And I tell you all that because you just never know what kind of day somebody else is having. And don't take your customers for granted. I wasn't mad at the guy. I was actually going to move the debris so that he could do his business and I could pay him money. And that was my goal. So don't take your customers for granted either. Always give them the benefit of the doubt. Look out for each other. All that good stuff. Speaking of people that look out for each other, let me introduce to you Mark from British Columbia Ball Pythons. Mark, welcome to the show tonight, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, and I'm really glad to have you on. I know it's kind of cliche, but the show is way better with a guest. Like, I'm only interesting for like 4 minutes. That's why I'm like, all right, time to bring him on. But I've always found you interesting. We've crossed paths a couple times on. I saw you on. I think his first name was Brian, but Samson, Brian, the What's in Your Cup episode, and I saw that quite a while back. I was like, this dude's pretty down to earth, good guy, all that, and then. We were both on, I will say it doesn't matter. It's cool. We were both on a Snakes and the Fat Man call, and that was a different experience for me, a little different off-brand for me. If you guys haven't checked it out, he's wildly popular. He's not up my alley, but he's wildly popular. And I will say, let me say this for the record, I think he's a very good dude. I think he's found a niche that's really fun and a real chance for him to just be a persona and a caricature that maybe he doesn't, or maybe he is that way all the time. I don't know. He does really well, and I don't think less of him. I think he's got his own character niche, and he does well. But we were on that, and that was like, how many people were on that call? 25 maybe?
Something like that. It was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just to get a word in or to interact, it was really nearly impossible. So. British Columbia, and you make a point somewhere in one of your bios. I saw that you said that you're either not in Vancouver or you're inland or you're not on the coast. Where are you at? Tell us about what you got going on.
We're about 4 hours inland from Vancouver. People think of BC as mainly Vancouver.
Yeah.
But we're in a deserty, dry interior. And so I don't know why I felt the need to share that in there, but
So what, you get over the Cascade Mountains, and then you get the arid desert on the inland side there?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, let me be the typical silly American. What are the cities there? How many population? Like, what do you do in inland? Not you personally, but what is there? What's going on in inland British Columbia?
It's nice here. Like, 40 degrees in the summer, a lot of lakes, like
at night or in the daytime?
Oh, during the day, that's our highs. You're
talking Celsius though.
Yeah. Fuck.
Okay. All right. That was the look on my face. I was like, man, that's not that nice, man. That's pretty cold.
I always forget. I'm sorry, man. Yeah,
that's okay.
I don't even know how to convert that. I don't know what 40 goes into.
40's hot. 40's in the 90s, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. 40's in the 90s Fahrenheit.
The summers are really nice here. It's very lake oriented. Like, there's a lake on every direction, half an hour drive. And so everybody spends their summers on boats and out at the lake and that kind of stuff. So it is really nice in the summer. It's cold as all hell in the winter though. Yeah. That I'm not familiar with specifically where you're at, but I have spent some time on the eastern or central part of Washington State, which is the same thing. You get in from the Cascade Mountains, and it forms a desert. It's actually a very high-end wine growing region because they can control every drop of water because it is so arid. They irrigate everything, and you can, down to the milliliter, you can control what the waters get. So we got a lot in common. Second
second season of breeding.
Yeah.
Well, I say a lot. We got that in common. We're doing that. We're making our rounds on the social media in the ball python world. Tell us some stats. Tell us what you're working on. What snakes like numbers wise you have, and what you have going on.
Numbers wise, I should have probably prepared, but
it could be ballpark.
Somewhere around 60 with holdbacks and stuff that's left. I've got 7 left from last year. Stats that I do know, I did 11 clutches last year, 84 hatchlings. I've got 7 left. So we did sell most of the stuff besides outside of holdbacks. I held back 8. So it was a pretty good first year. This year, we're looking to more than double that. We've got more than double the females that are being paired. So and we upgraded too. So a lot more double recessive projects, and just I bred a lot of single gene stuff my first year. I wanted to make super fires, which I always thought were amazing, and just banana pieds and like cool stuff. But as getting more into the social media and following more people and seeing and that was another thing too. I initially put some money in that I worked a bunch of overtime and everything.
Yeah.
That's the first year. And then after that, I made a deal with the girlfriend there that buying any new snakes has to come from money from sales from hatchlings. So that's what I did. I upgraded, and all the money from the hatchlings just went to buying, more power packed females. And that's what we're going with this year. So it's exciting.
Man, so you floored the throttle out of the gate compared to me. So for comparison's sake, I had 2 clutches last year, 15 eggs. And I did sell all. I've got 4. I got 4 holdbacks, but 3 now. I just sold one of them. So three holdbacks, and those 3 will stay with me. What was your sensation of caring for 84 hatchlings, man? Because let me tell you, 15 felt like it was kicking my butt,
It was tricky because where I'm at, there's no rodent breeder in my town. So what I had to do.
Yeah. Okay. I like this story. So what did you, okay.
It was tricky.
I don't know the story. I'm saying I like the start of the story.
Yeah, no, there's down in Vancouver, of course, there's lots of breeders down there. And so of course there's lots of rodent breeders. So what I had to do was ship. I started doing this a couple of years ago anyways, when I decided I was going to breed. But in order to get fuzzies and pups and all that live, with that many, I can't imagine trying to get everybody on frozen thought. So I have to fly them in. First, we were trucking them in, but then there was a mudslide on the main highway here from Vancouver to my town, to Kamloops here. Yeah. So the trucks weren't able to deliver them anymore. So then I had to pay the premium over $100 to fly them in. And that's what I'm currently still doing. I'm flying them in. So I go and pick them up the same day. It's not an overnight thing, which it was before. And it's a lot easier, but man, it costs an arm and a leg. Yeah. And it probably gets better per rodent as you scale it up, long as you don't hit the second box, right? Yeah. Now, so maybe one difference though, I think you said you had been planning. How long had you had ball pythons before you started breeding and before you got these first clutches? That's that goes way back. It's similar to a lot of guys you hear where they dipped in and out over the years. I had my first ball python in 2007. Okay. And a couple years, and then I started buying a few things. I actually bought some Burmese pythons. I was going to breed them. I was really impressed with the larger snakes. I was 20 or 21 then, so I got larger, bigger, everything
bigger. Yeah,
absolutely. And but then here in British Columbia, they passed the large constrictors ban. So all anacondas, rock pythons, berms, all of that got banned. So I sold them to somebody that didn't care. That there was plenty of breeders that kept doing it. So I sold them. I didn't want to do anything illegal. Yeah. And that kind of soured my taste for getting into the whole thing, because that was my favorite species at the time. Yeah. And back then too, there was pieds and albinos, but I couldn't afford anything like that in that back in.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I love the look of them. I would have loved to work with them, but no, there's no way I could afford that. So then fast forward to 2015, I had a personal training was going well. So we started buying up stuff, but we were in a small apartment and it just wasn't the right time. It just, and then, so with personal training, there's seasons. So as you can probably imagine, New Year's, it's the best time of year. Boom, business is crazy. And then right before summer, business is crazy. And then into the end of summer and through the winter is garbage. I mean, very little. So that's what happened. I'm like, okay, I got some boas. I got another ball python, a carpet python. Like, all right, I'm going to try and do this again. And then, it comes into the winter time, money runs dry. Shit, you know what? It's not the right time.
Right.
So then fast forward to 2020 and the girlfriend, I've always watched Barczyk's videos. Like back then I used to watch it when it was snake bites.
Oh, sure.
It's just something, it was cool that he had a daily thing, just something I've always loved reptiles since I was a little kid. So it was something that not religiously every day, but over the years, I'd always check back in, watch a couple, this is kind of
sure. Cool. Yeah.
And I thought the egg cutting thing was fantastic. And seeing
great.
The color combos that are coming out where I couldn't believe that ball pythons look like that.
Yeah.
In 2015, I saw the dreamsicle and I was blown away. I thought I'll never own one of those, but man, those are fantastic.
Yeah.
And so 2020, she said, you know what, let's get a ball python. We were kind of getting back into watching Barczyk a little more regularly and a few of the other channels. And we just started with a banana pastel male. And I started watching all the channels, as many as I could, could find. And it just went from there, like, bam. A couple months later, there was a guy in the next town over an hour from here that was selling 5 proven breeder females, like a single gene, a fire, and then a pinstripe, and a pastel spot nose, who I still have, and a couple other things like that. And I snagged them up, and then it just went from there.
Gotcha. And so that was 2020?
Yeah.
So you had about a year head start before you started breeding. Yeah. I gotcha. Okay. That's so funny. You said so when I was in college, I had a couple, same kind of thing. You couldn't, albinos and pieds were out there, but you could either have a house or you could have an albino, but you weren't going to have both, kind of deal. And then I didn't mess with it, but it's so funny. So mine was April. 2 years ago from like right now, April 2020, nice. I bought a banana pastel.
Did you?
Yeah. So God's honest truth. Hand to that man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But it was the same thing because I was like, we had gotten my son a bearded dragon that Christmas, and then COVID hits, lockdowns come. My head's all screwed up from the restaurant industry in COVID time on top of the usual madness of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, he got a bearded dragon. Those ball pythons I used to have were pretty cool. And I was like, maybe I'd be interested in one. It was the same thing, man. I hit Morph Market. I start seeing what Barczyk's got. I see what Chris Hardwick's doing. I'm like, holy cow. And then I look and I'm like, I can get one of these banana looking things for like, I don't know, it was $180 or 200 or so, I don't know, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And relatively, nothing compared to what I thought what I knew that the pieds were going for back in the day. So anyway, really, really similar path on that. Cool. So 84 hatchlings, what's your kind of preferred method of selling, or what are your avenues of selling? How do you move your animals?
Well, Morph Market, of course.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice. It was
okay.
It worked out better than I thought it would. Because up here, the market isn't as hot. You know what? I get almost every day an inquiry from somebody in the States. Hey, do you ship to the States? Hey, do you ship to the States? Well, I was like, I will, but it costs like $400. So
yeah.
And it's on a $400, $500 animal. It's not worth it. So it's frustrating because your guys' market is so hot. All of this stuff would have been gone a long time ago if.
Yeah, and if anybody north of the border is watching, in my estimation, your prices are really, really good, man. You got some spot nose leopard stuff. I was like, man, I'm gonna make a deal right now. And then I was like, he's got to ship it across the border. I can't do it. Like,
and it's expensive. And it's not per box; it's per animal. So you're looking at $400 for the first animal and $250 per snake after that. So unless you're spending thousands, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I did. I've got some really close musician buddies over in Montreal.
Oh yeah, nice.
And I would we've shipped some gear back and forth before, but the shipping is a fortune, and then you have the I don't know what's the duty and the import fees, man.
Yeah. And
you don't want to lie, because you can't go risking having a multi-$1,000 instrument confiscated, but suddenly you're paying 25-30% of the cost of that very expensive instrument just to get it there. So anyway, yeah, I didn't know the stipulations on that for live animals. Yeah. How you said that there was a large constrictor ban. How large is large by their definition? So how large can you go without getting to the ban? Can you have like reticulated pythons?
No,
not reticulated.
And it's a blanket ban too. I mean, they say like boa constrictors are allowed, but they can't be over 3 meters. But you can't have super dwarfs. You can't.
Gotcha.
All reticulate that species, like it's ridiculous. There's no science behind it, and none of these animals could live here. So they
I mean, I probably lose friends when I say it. I don't necessarily care to ban any animal one way or another, but at least in parts of Florida, I understand why people have a concern.
Yes,
because they are viable if owners are irresponsible, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
You don't have that problem. Oh. That is not.
Yeah. So frustrating.
Yeah. Well, it's a good time to plug. I got my brand new US Ark shirt in the mail this week. It's the reddest thing I own. Look at this thing. I'm like a candy apple, but hey, I figured I'd wear it tonight. But in the States, we have US Ark, thankfully lobbying on our sides here.
I'm a bronze member. I just figured, what happens with US Ark and all the laws down there will likely translate up here someday. So
I was going to ask, what's the interaction, or what's the general? I was going to say what's the general temperature, but it sounds like it's not so hot for snakes or exotic species.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have garter snakes and gopher snakes and rattlesnakes. That's about it up here. So,
you got rattlesnakes up there?
Oh yeah, lots. They're especially where I live in the desert here. They're everywhere. They're in my backyard.
Really, I didn't know that. What and I don't mean literal temp. So what's the political or legal temperature? What do you foresee on that?
There's a couple provinces here that have banned. I believe it's Saskatchewan. There, I've seen a couple of guys that I've communicated with for years, colubrid guys.
Yeah.
And I see their collections up for sale. And I'm not up on what the legislation's like in each province, but I reach out, hey man, what's going on? What happened? You've been doing so good. You just had this and that, you hit this. Well, did you not hear about the ban? Like they wiped out the whole colubrid market over there. And I don't want to speak out of my ass because I don't know for sure, but this is what he told me. And so that's really sad seeing these guys have been doing this for many, many years for no reason. Like there's no, like we're talking about, they can't become invasive.
Right.
Maybe some of the colubrid species could, but they're all, it's just sad. It's too bad. There's no science behind it. And we have a company or an organization called CanHerp that's similar to US Ark.
Okay.
But it's at the beginning stages. They do work on certain legislation and stuff. And it's nice to see that happening here now, following US Ark's lead.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can keep it going here. But yeah, in BC, nothing's changed since 2009. And I don't see ball pythons going anywhere, but you never know because there are provinces that have banned ball pythons for no reason at all. But
I didn't know that. So there are places that ball pythons are outlawed in Canada.
Yep.
Wow.
It's pathetic.
That's a little bit crazy. So Inquiline, this is John. He's over in Colorado. He said, is Florida still a great place for reptile breeders? I know the laws are more strict than most places. So in my limited opinion, and there's a couple other opinions in the room that actually Tito at Tradesman's really up on stuff. I'm going to bring him in just a second on this conversation. But my perception is that the market and the hobby is very healthy here. There's plenty going on. Obviously, we host Daytona every year. And what the laws are and what people follow can be at odds. So technically, for me to own, display, or sell I have to have what's called a Florida Wildlife Commission Class 3 license, and I do. I have mine, and that's what Snakes for the Memories was just talking. They said theirs took like 5 months. I guess I was lucky. I got mine in about 2 months. From what I could tell, it was nothing but a $50 paperwork fee, and then wait till as long as you fill out your paperwork, wait till you get the permit. They actually messed up my first one. They sent me a permit for birds. So I have an exotic, I have a Florida wildlife permit for birds.
Nice.
And then I called them and I was like, guys, I have one species, and you have to send a species list. You have to send your GPS coordinates. You have to allow that any inspector can enter your home anytime, and you have to submit a emergency evacuation plan, as well as like emergency contact, which they didn't check in. They don't, I listed a legitimate one, but they didn't contact the guy. It was another breeder that I bought a lot of things from. So I know that most people don't have that. And I don't know where the difference, I don't know where we would draw the line between hobby and business. I would say most hobbyists don't need to have that. There's lots of birds and fish that people don't need permits for, that they dump in lakes. So, you know what I mean? It becomes a weird game of like, yeah, but what about that? Yeah, but what about that? When I don't really care about that and that. I want, I guess, being selfish, but I want mine protected. And where I live in Florida, ball pythons are not viable. And I don't think that they are in most places. So, I get the concern, and I do worry about, not to turn this into a whole environmental conversation, but I do worry about, particularly in Florida, our beaches are being developed and eroded. There's not much natural Florida left, which is amazing. Florida's amazing. Not that there's not anything left. So I try and balance all that. I have those concerns. For me, the best solution would be a responsible hobbyist, a responsible person in the industry, and people handling their animals responsibly, with as much focus on that as dogs, cats get, and rightly so. If we want to adopt a dog, right, we're 3 weeks out on trying to adopt a dog because they're interviewing us. They want to come and see our home, make sure I'm not lying about a fence. I don't know that I want that to buy a snake, but I want that sense of responsibility. I want that sense of normalcy for reptiles and for us, especially with, and again, I don't know where the line is. I don't want to leave venomous owners out. If they're responsible and whatever that means, fine. That's not for me. But anyway, that's the Florida outlook. Tito said, Tito, can you comment? You said that Florida just passed a law that's going to mess with a lot of people, and I'm not familiar with that. So I'm curious of what that is and why that might affect me. So, so Morph Market was your primary place. What other I know that you're on Instagram and you have like 2 videos on YouTube, but do you find fertile selling ground on Instagram at all, or not?
I'll just address the YouTube thing. That's not mine. It's one of my youth, one of my autism youth that I work with. He likes working editing and that kind of stuff. And so I just said, you know what, he's told me, oh, I can make you this and I can do these videos. And you know what, go ahead, buddy. So it's, I think that's what you've seen there, because I've never put anything on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, there's two shorts, and
okay.
And it is your logo though too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
He took it off my Instagram and did something there with it, but that's, power to him. I'm not going to do a YouTube channel. I don't have time, but yeah, Instagram was pretty nice too. Many times where I put up on my story or, available, it did sell. And then there's also our Craigslist here is called Kijiji, and
that's right. Yeah.
And that I sold quite a few through there as well.
Oh, cool. So do you feel like, are there a lot of people breeding? Are they mostly pet owners? You said the market's not as hot there, but is there less people? Is there less competition too in the market, you think?
There's a lot of people breeding up here, and a lot of people breeding high end. The best stuff I made sold the fastest.
Yeah. Okay.
stuff like pastels and you know, just the stuff in the clutch that, you know, with single gene stuff, that's the stuff I'm still sitting on.
Yeah.
You know, I figured, oh, there's going to be people that are just wanting a pet snake, a $50, $100 pastel or something, you know, and that's the stuff that wouldn't sell. Like I made 5 black pastel lavenders. They were gone as soon as I put them up, basically.
Oh, cool.
You know, same with just whatever. It's funny that I don't know about breeders, but yeah, no, you know what? Actually, mostly the people that bought anything that was over $500 were people that were breeding or looking to get into breeding.
Right, at that want to, or that level of interest. Yeah. I think the more and more I consider it, I think the pet grade owners are probably going to pet stores and maybe the reptile shows. I know that Stephen and Courtney said they have a lot of luck with sort of pet snakes at the shows. So maybe that's the secret ingredient to moving the less expensive ones, is that you can move a bunch of them in one pop, you know.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, well, and because I wrestle with the overhead of I think the shows would be fun to vend. Like there's a little bit of a carnival barker almost aspect to it, you know, that's kind of intriguing to me. It's its own stage kind of thing, but to not look like you're just vending out of a box, you got to have pretty nice stuff, and you got to have banners and tables and all of that. So I don't know. I'm considering there's a really, really, really good exotic shop in town. I mean, everybody's got an opinion of them, so maybe they've done, I don't know. I've always thought very highly of them. I might see what they do for breeders, for pet grade snakes. It's probably store credit or whatever it is, but to your point about the cost of rodents, I mean, at some point you're not going to break even keeping them, so may as well move them on, you know. Let's see, going backwards for just a second. Tito says sent you the full info on Facebook, Adam. Too much to copy paste here, so I'll check that out, and we'll probably talk more not on this show. I'm not going to step away to go on Facebook, but I do try and keep up with the laws, because the old what's the expression, the slow boiling frog, you know, the frog will stay in a cold pot of water that slowly heats up till it's boiling and it cooks him. Every little step that we feel is normal or becomes normalized is just another degree of temperature tightening and ratcheting up on us. And again, you know, we've even found that ourselves in our own conversation, like, oh, well, are colubrids, would they be viable? Well, again, we need the responsible owners would cure that, you know, and I think the more normal that these animals can become as pets, nobody asks, well, is a cat or a dog viable if it gets out? Of course it is. We know it is. Yeah, they are. But nobody asks that, because they encourage responsible ownership of those animals. And to me, that's the ultimate answer. So one step at a time, I guess. But those are things that I work at. But I do try and keep an eye on the laws and what's going on with those. So you've dropped some pretty big bombs along the way. You made black pastel lavenders in your first year.
Yeah, they were really nice. I'm trying to make a bunch more this year, because
I bet you are.
It's like whether they sell really easy. They're just beautiful, like just incredible, especially as hatchlings.
I love those dark jeans with the albino or the albinism sort of groups of genes. So I've got two black heads, not black pastels, 2 black heads.
Nice.
And they're both het genetic stripes. I'm hoping I can get a genetic stripe black head or a super. And if that happens, that's going into my lavenders. That's going into my candies. That's going to be the stud of the. I don't have any albinos. I got a candy, lavender, or dreamsicle project. I want to keep the albino separate from the candy, so I don't get into the whole Candino question. If I just don't have them, but yeah, I got to see what that female blackhead does. That I'm pretty pumped about that. So what did you and I'm sure I didn't prep you with any of this stuff. Anybody, those of y'all watching, what you don't realize is I purposely don't give the guests a whole lot because I like to meet them on the spot. But then what happens is I ask them questions like this and they're like, I don't know, give me a heads up next time. So what are some of the types of things that you bought this year? You said that you upgraded a lot of your stock versus keeping a whole lot back. So what were some of the investments that you made in your second breeding year that stand out, the standout ones for you?
Yeah. Dreamsicle Project girls. I got a Mojave Lav Het Pied, proven breeder, a leopard double het, what else? Oh, a yellow belly pied het lav, and the male to go with it, an orange dream pied het lav. So,
oh, cool. So you're pushing this dreamsicle forward, huh?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to. Last year I bought a pair of double hets, a double het for dreamsicle, and then a pied het lav. I bred them both. They both went, and I got all normals. So, the pied het lav came from Corey Woods, who's very reputable up here. So I don't have any doubt that was. But
right.
That I tried to reach out to Buddy, who I bought the two double het females from, and his account's been deleted. So I got screwed on that one. This year, when I decided I wanted to keep going, I've always said ever since that 2015, and I saw that dreamsicle, and then starting again, thinking, oh, this is actually possible. I could make one. This year I decided, you know what, I'm going to spend a little more money and I'm going to try and see if I can get some codoms like an ODYB dreamsicle or a Mojave, Orange Dream Mojave dreamsicle, which I've never even seen one. So, things like I'm pretty excited about the dreamsicle project this year, actually.
Nice. So how many females in that project do you have that you've paired this year?
4.
Okay.
Well, I haven't paired them all. I bought an ultrasound too. That was another thing that I invested in. I did the first year without one, and it went great. 11 out of 17 went, so that's not bad.
Okay.
And then this year, I had a little extra money, and I figured from the hatchling sales, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Then that way, I can maybe improve production this year, especially at the fact that I was investing a lot more into it. I thought, invest another couple grand. Maybe I can get a few more clutches and pay that ultrasound off in one egg type of thing,
Sure. Is it too early to tell if you're going to be more, so what, 11 out of 17, you're kicking, 58% or something like that. Yeah. Do you think you'll exceed, is it too early to tell whether you'll exceed that success rate or not?
Well, this year, I've already had my first clutch last year was May 27th. This year, I just put one in there 3 days ago, and I've got as May starts, it's due date after every second day for the first 2 weeks is a due date.
Fun.
And so I really do think it's helped. There's snakes that I was shocked. You look at them, you think, oh, no way. She's not thick. She's been eaten. She looks good. But there's no way she's growing. She's she looks like she always does.
Right.
And I hit her with the ultrasound, and she's at 20 millimeter follicles, which is pretty big. So I'm like, oh shit, she needs to be paired.
Yeah.
So, I did that, and with 1 to 2 locks, I've got clutches. And before I would have waited till I saw the signs, the bull coming to the front, and then I might have missed that clutch. Or I'll lock a girl for start in November, December, January, February, March, April,
right.
And he finally starts building. So I've used that male for 14 locks or something like that. Whereas this year, all the clutches I've got 14 ovulations so far, and all of them have been with 2 to 3 locks. So it's way different than last year, and that's all due to being able to know exactly what's going on. I was never very good at palpating either. So
I'm not good at it, and mostly I operate seasonally on mine, at least in these first 2 years. But last year I was moving in the middle of breeding season.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, I got 2 out of 4. I still was at the 50. Yeah, I was at the 50% mark,
That's pretty good.
So I'm interested to see where I end up this year. But conversations like you just gave me with that sort of detail, I start to lean towards, why am I spending this money to, bat 500 when maybe I could get it up to 700 or, 70 or 80% kind of thing. So
that was my thinking behind it. So
yeah, that would be, well, and Last year I didn't really have the firepower to justify it. Now I do. I've got more. Mark, if his name is Mark as well, 403 Fauna. He says I'm first in line for one of those blackhead genetic stripes. He actually is being literally truthful. I won't go through the screen share, but I have a mailing list and a request list, and he is literally number one on that. So for the audience and for anybody, if y'all ever hear that there's something that could be coming down the pipe, as long as I hit it and you're interested, let me know and I'll give you dibs on it. I try and find value in the shows. I'm like, there's a value added proposition right there. Let me see here. And thanks for everybody in the audience, by the way. I appreciate it. I know that I get really engaged with the guests, but I do see the comments and I'm looking at them. And then Mark has to wrap up just after 9 tonight. But if there's any topics you guys want to dive into after Mark has to wrap up, I'll be happy to hang out for a bit as well. So no problem there. Sorry. So 11 clutches last year, and you said you think you have 14 already going. What number do you think you'll get to this year on female or clutches?
Yeah, we've had 14 ovulations for sure, and then I've got another 9 that are over 30 millimeters. And once they're over 30 millimeters, I just leave them be. No more feed. Just watch for ovulation and then pre-lay shed, of course. So we're already over the 20 mark with females that are just done, that don't need any more pairing. And then I've got another 9 that I'll be pairing once they start, hopefully if they start building. If they don't start building, I'll pair them because usually sometimes a lock can spur them into to getting going. But that's where I'm at right now. It's last year was a little bit more like, I like that it's more precise, but at the same time, kind of not knowing was it was fun. It was, I'm going to be honest, I much prefer it this way, but it was fun not knowing for sure. Like, oh, I don't know, I hope so. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Now I know exactly where each one is at. Like I just hit them with the scan, like, oh, okay, you're not even close. I'll save the male and put him to this one. And, yeah. I'm
at a point where if there's a lot of ifs here, if my girls will hit and I continue to, build an audience and a community that will purchase and ultimately be able to sell the snakes, I'm fortunate, thank God, but I'm at a good point in my life. I could do like this, and music could be my primary sources of income.
Hell yeah.
And have a really good life. And so I know that's relative to everybody's different needs. So, but where mine are, so yeah, the fun aspect of do they go or not? Sure, that's fun. What's way more fun is me going, here is what is going to happen and what I'm going to make happen. So, for sure. And I've got a fairly long horizon on that. I'm very, very fortunate with the work that I am doing right now and the company that I work for. They've been incredible to me. So, but it's always been it was supposed to last 60 to 90 days, and that's been a year now. So I don't know when it will end. Speaking of normalizing things, I think I've normalized my position to where they're like, Adam brings a lot of value. Let's keep him around. But at any rate, that's kind of my this year's my proving ground. Like I need to see my stats. How many of the ones that I paired will go? I paired 13. I'm hoping. Yeah. I think the over under right now is 10. I mean, I think it's very feasible from their body and non-ultrasound data. I think I'll get 10 to go. But I got to find out. I mean, if I had 3 or 4 go, there's another year. I got to reprove things and start going, Adam, is this just crazy town? Like, do you need to just dial this back to hobby and get back to the real world? So, no, I think it's going well, and I'm happy with what I've done. So, on that topic, what's your outlook as you look into the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th seasons? Where does life take you, and how does this fit into it? Does it stay more on the hobby side, business, pay for all the vacations in the future, or how's it? What's the drive on that?
Well, my mom used to take me to the first time I ever seen a snake in a drawer. I used to think the same thing everybody else that doesn't know reptiles will ask, oh, why is it in a drawer? Isn't that too small? I was 5 years old, and I was taken into the back of a reptile house. And he showed me the breeding operation in the back. And I remember thinking, what? This is incredible. This was in the 90s. So
yeah.
There wasn't much going on. There was Burmese pythons and
right.
boas. But I thought it was the coolest thing. And I swore to my parents that that's what I was going to do for a living. Well, cool. You grow up. But I've always been obsessed with snakes. Like the first book I ever took out in the library was a book on snakes. My parents will tell that story when they tell their friends what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But my job right now, I know we had mentioned it before we came on live. I'm happy to talk about it, but I work night shift most of the time. And for the most part, I can get sleep at night. So, and it pays really well. So I have every day open for the most part. Like I get the odd job, like tomorrow I leave for a week to do 7 24-hour shifts in a row in another town for a massive bonus. So I'm happy to do that. But for the most part, I have every day open. So I do want to do this full time eventually. And I think, with the way things are and things are looking, it's definitely possible in a 5-year type of deal.
Sure.
But I feel like it would be silly to stop this job that I love. And I do think it, very minuscule, but it does make a slight impact on society and whatnot and our youth. I have every day off. So, and I get to sleep most nights, 6, 5, 7 hours, in there.
Yeah.
So why would I, move out of that to focus on this when I'm already have all the time in the world to focus on this? If it gets to the point where I had 200 breeder females, then that's another story.
Yeah.
But I bought a house specifically to have a snake basement. We were house shopping in 2020, and that was part of the house shopping. So I've got room to expand down there, and plus from sales from the first year, I was very pleasantly surprised at how well we did. And this year with the upgrades and more than double the clutches, like it should be pretty significant. So I can only imagine if I do the same thing, take that money and invest it back into different stock and more projects and whatnot, maybe upgrade a few things, do that every year. I can only imagine what it'll be like in 2, 3, 4 years from now. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm very, very excited. So,
oh, cool. No, I agree with you. And I think that I think it's a great outlook. And I think, I won't speak for you, but as I told you off the air, I think it's a very impactful thing that you're doing. It's probably not a huge success rate through nothing that you can control, but it's still one of those things that we need people doing. And anyway, I'm real happy. I'm thankful that you're out there doing it. So don't think that you're not making a difference on that. So the growth is I'm challenged a little bit here in Florida. You probably don't know, no reason for you to know. In Florida, if you go about 3 feet underground, you hit water.
Yes, of course.
There's no basements. Everyday guys don't have basements in Florida. There's very few basements in Florida. And I did have one in North Carolina, and it was great because the temperature was pretty static and regulated. And it was much less heating and cooling, which I do a ton of here. But space in general is a little bit of my challenge. So I'm continuously looking at how to economize my space. And then I look at, you talked about the drawers or the tubs. How do I maximize the money per slot? So if I have a certain number of square feet vertically, horizontally, how do I maximize what I can get in there? How do I maximize the value of each of those tubs? And again, I'm sort of talking myself into it, but that's another way that the ultrasound makes sense, is that you're valuing and optimizing your time, not to get too gross, but the worth that each male has. There's a finite amount there that's going to go, and you don't want to abuse that either. So all of those together, I've got a 12 by 8 room inside my garage, which is 20 by 20. And I just scored this monster incubator. Like, it's as big as the dang
I
sink.
saw that.
It's a killer. I mean, for those of you that didn't see it, I posted a picture on Instagram of me standing inside the incubator. Like, I can stand upright in this incubator. But that means also that I could take out of the heated area, the small incubator that's in there, and that footprint now could hold, 20 more adult females.
Nice.
A 2x10 vertically. So those are the ways that I think right now, because it's really not, whether it's practical or not, maybe, who knows, maybe I'll have more money than I know what to do with. But barring that, it's not practical for me to go, oh, I'll buy another building. I'm not going to go 200 grand in debt to try and chase this thing. So I love the challenge of going, all right, here's exactly what I have to work with. Now, how can I do the very, very, very best with what I've got? So, man, ton of votes for ultrasound machine. I'm going to have to figure out. All right. So I'll be honest. What is it? $2,000 or so? I think it's about $2,000 American. I heard they can be found for a little bit less used, and everybody's got this like chupacabra story of this one guy that got the cool used deal at the hospital auction or whatever,
Not me. I bought mine new from China.
Yeah. They are, they're expensive. And when I'm going candy pied, candy clown, or ultra, it's kind of like I want to get going, but you do have to have the tools to do it, and you got to have the resources to do it. So I got to try and make some buddies and figure out how to get one a little bit at a better price. I see people saying they paid $1,300, eBay brand new for $1,000. What I found though too, one of the cool things about this community, like any community, I think there's conversations that everybody knows about, and then there's like, hey, we'll talk about this off air kind of conversations, and those have been very, very good to me. I bought another gentleman's, really his whole operation when he got out, his collection, but everything. Nice. But it was, honestly, it was pennies on the dollar. And it was just because I knew him and we got on well. And he was like, you're who I want to have it. If not, I'll sell them out bit by bit. But if you want the whole thing, So there was that. There's been some breeders that have been like, dude, thanks for doing a video on us. Actually one of my Dreamsicle project, not Dreamsicle, but male lav pied.
Nice.
It was basically just a thank you gift kind of thing. It was
that's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. I was like, well, I guess I'm in this project now. What else am I going to buy kind of thing?
Right on.
Yeah. So, but then, I'm not looking to start a fight here. This has kind of been my thing too. Buy snakes, learn snakes, no ultrasound needed unless you have 100 females, So I don't know where and both, I'm not trying to choose sides or start a fight. This is where I get torn, and I am naturally, one thing I've had to get over is I have this innate, like, I love finding a deal. Like, I don't care what something's priced at. I want to find it for less. And I've found a long time ago, in business, you can't do that. For fun, for hobbies, for buying cool guitars, great, all day long. If you need the right cuts on food, you need the right knives. If you want a slicer, you need a sharp slicer so that so you could be productive and you can get down to business, and you need the right computer software to run a busy restaurant. You don't just need pens and papers, So that's the other thing. I have to balance those two and go, no, Adam, this isn't your, flea market find. This is something you want to make a business though, Oh, and then after all that, Ball Python project comes back and says, I'm definitely going to pick one up eventually, though. All right.
Well, it's so if you're going to spend, like, the way Billy preaches starting this business, and Justin and Will Morose, who's a great guy up here, is getting your females first, like we've always heard. Okay. But buying, if you want to be strong in a project, buying 4, 5, 6, 7 girls in a project, and then you find that one male for 8 or 5, 3 even K, up to 8, up to 10 even. That's where I'm trying to go next year for a male. If I'm spending 10K on a male, I'm happy to drop 2K on an ultrasound so that I can stretch that male to all of those girls rather than 2 or 3. And then that one egg from one of those extra clutches pays that ultrasound off. And then I still have 4 more clutches that,
right,
because of having that ultrasound. So that's where my head was, once I started listening to that method of doing this, I started buying groups of females in one project.
Yeah.
That's why I decided, if I'm going to spend 4 or 5K on a male, and it's going to go to, several females, what's an extra 2K just to make sure that I have the best chance at that male being able to do the job on every single female I have for him. So that was my take on the ultrasound.
No. And I think it's very valid and very, very insightful. This is a great example of everybody's on their own. And I'm not even talking about myself. Everybody's on their own journey. So I can, and you probably can too, Mark, although you might have had a different outlook. Sounds like you had a little different passion heading into it versus me, where I kind of stumbled in and then hit my passion.
Oh, yeah.
Up until very, very recently, there was zero chance that I would spend 10 grand on anything in life that I couldn't live in or drive.
Same.
I was going to say, or put on my wife's finger. No, that's too much for that. Nope, didn't do that. So there is a curve. And I would, to go back to our first and second season stuff, I would say to anybody starting out, don't be overwhelmed and don't feel like you can never hang with a 2 or a 4 or a 5 or a $10,000 snake, or this show isn't for you, because first you could create them with enough time and you don't have to buy them. Exactly. And that is attainable. Like that's one of the cool things I love about this hobby. That is attainable. I always make this joke. No matter how long I leave 2 mediocre guitars next to each other, they're never going to create a beautiful little amazing guitar of my dreams. But
there's 6 of them.
But the snakes will, yeah. And so what I never want to do is have this like elitist thousands of dollar conversations without this context, because also to your point, with 2 clutches and 15 snakes last year, I did like $4,500 in revenue.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not effing bad. Yeah. And so I part of me, I use that for various, I didn't intend to necessarily put it all straight back in, because I did want to have a little bit of this is going to contradict everything. I wanted to have a little bit of growth where I knew what was going on and I understood what I was doing. I thought this second year would be a 7 or 8 clutch kind of thing, because I was balancing being a dad, a husband, 2 other businesses. It's a lot. Like I said, 2 new clutches of hatchlings was kicking my butt some days, much less 84. But then that phone call came and the guy says, hey, I got 20x 23, 25 snakes. I got an ARS 5040. I got hatchling racks. Adam, it's all yours if you want it. And I paid him, but it was more than 4,500, but it wasn't too much more than 4,500. So, nice. Preparation opportunity and that stuff came along. And had I not had that first year of 2 clutches and figuring out how to turn those clutches into that little bit of gross revenue kind of thing. So anyhow, Mark, tell us where we could see you. Tell us what's next. Tell us where to find you next, all that good stuff.
Just Instagram. That's basically the only thing I really pump. Like I have my Facebook that's linked to it, but the only thing that's ever posted on there is automatic from Instagram, that I don't really.
Oh, gotcha.
There much, right. So, but it's just the Instagram. I try and reply to anybody who reaches out. Anybody asks me any question. There's no stupid question. I'm new, but if I can offer something that I've gone through, or if anything like that, I'm happy to share it. I love talking snakes. So, just Instagram, and I'm trying to be better about posting more. So I'll get better.
Well, I want to tell you, thanks for being on the show. Those in the audience, don't go away. We're going to keep the show going. Mark's got to get to work for a little while, for the evening in a little while. Yeah. As I thought before I really had a chance to get to know you, you're a great dude. Thank you for being on the show. I want to do it again. I'd like to hear how your season and your hatchlings go. Again, I don't want to harp on it, but I really appreciate the work that you're doing. As I explained to you off the air, it's pretty near and dear to me. I've been fortunate to avoid that kind of stuff, but thanks on that is what I'll say. And good luck on the clutches, man. What's your man. All right? Last thing. You got like a minute and a half, 90 seconds. What's the high water mark of what you want to hit this year as far as like the snake? What's the snake you're hoping for as far as your odds this year?
Oh,
or one of them.
I can't give you just one. I'll give you a couple.
Okay, there you go. Perfect.
An ODYB Dreamsicle would be really nice.
Yeah, that would be.
Orange Dream Mojave Dreamsicle would be nice. Lemon Blast Desert Ghost Het Pied, Orange Dream Desert Ghost Het Pied. Those are I've got pretty good shots at those.
So you got Desert Ghost and Pied project for next year then, or for future building on those for the double visual?
Yeah, I'm building double visuals down the road. Right now it's combo Desert Ghost that'll be Het Pied. So that's I've got 3 clutches for that this year. So
any other double recessives other than Dreamsicles?
It's just those 2. Oh no, I'm doing I did a pastel Orange Dream Clown to pastel Lavender, so Grail stuff.
Cool.
Making double hets for Grail project down the road, and I think that's pretty much it. Like I said before, I really did kind of stack groups. I didn't want to spread. I see these things come up. Oh, I'd love to get into Ultramel or this or that or Candy, just any of these beautiful. But I really want to focus until I have more space and more room. I really want to focus on a few projects and do them well and get my odds up where I actually make sure I get a few, at least 1 or 2 every year. If I have 5 females, I'm a lot more likely to get what I'm aiming for. Even if 2 don't go and 1 slugs out, there's still that, that shot there. So yeah, just those couple.
All right. Well, Mark, I know you got to run. We could do this for a long time. Let's do it again sooner than later. All right.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And to all of anybody that came on from Mark's audience, thank you for being here as well.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, man. I'll see you soon.
See you, pal.
All right. Take care, Mark. Whoops. No, we wanted a me, not there we go. No, hang on. There we go. Getting through the technical stuff. So that was Mark from British Columbia. What do you guys want to talk about tonight while you're firing off topics at me in the comments? Something that I was going to bring up just before Mark signed off. He said, he says I'm new. I don't know that much. And one thing I love about a community and a community of varying degrees of hobby to hobbyist to amateur to professional to master is that we can all learn from each other. But the other thing that I know is when you get a bunch of passionate people together that might not know much of anything of what's going on, new creative ideas come out, new ways of solving problems come out. When you get to be a professional at something, you're typically rigid and systematic and standardized in your ways, which is successful, but you forget all of these cool things outside. And that's why I love having in the restaurant. I loved having high school kids work in the restaurant. It's why I liked actually bringing in new managers. I didn't mind if somebody was ready for a promotion that I couldn't give them yet, for them to leave and go out into the community, because there'll be somebody behind them with new ideas and new things to teach me and that I can learn from. So don't ever feel like because you're new, you don't know. You always got something to share. And even if you just listen, you got something new to learn and to gain from it. So, Nicole, how are you doing tonight? I appreciate you checking it out. Everybody check out Lady Tiz Exotics when you get a chance. First off, Nicole is cool, and she owns Burmese retics, boas, ball pythons. She's been very, very good to me and ProperRoyals channel. She's one of the proud partner sponsors of some previous episodes. Nicole, I hope you're good. I got to get you on this show sometime, Nicole. So there's my thought. Like I say, to recap, if y'all didn't see earlier, that was Mark from British Columbia Balls. Next week, we're going to have Terrence and Keisha from Keys Constrictors. We just booked that tonight, so I don't know what we're going to talk about. If if you want to talk about energy, passion, and charisma, they are just a power duo, and it's going to be fun to have them on. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then 2 weeks from now, this is my calendar over here. This is why I keep looking over here. 2 weeks from now will be Stephen and Courtney from Leviathan Snakes that are back on with me. Stephen and Courtney were some of the very first people I met on YouTube when I first started my channel, and we got a new project cooking too. Maybe we'll unveil it when we do the show together. But we got a new project cooking that we'll share on YouTube on both of our channels in the future as well. I'll leave that there for right now. So, well, look, guys, let me say thanks. I've always said that this show doesn't have to be long. It's got to be valuable and has to have good content. And it feels like it's slowing down. So I think I'm going to hang it up for the night this week. I tell you all, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll keep doing it as long as you keep hanging out. And go check out Gershon at GP Snakes. You want to talk about one of the best dudes in the hobby? Absolutely one of the best. I really, really enjoy Gershon. Both his content and his animals are great. The care and the passion that he has both for his animals and the hobby is second to none. I will see you next week with Keys Constrictors. I'll have new videos out this week on YouTube. I hope to see you soon. Check out the links below for Mark, for Gershon at GP Snakes. My Linktree is down there. All kinds of cool stuff. Thank you very much. Until next time, see you next Tuesday night or on YouTube before then. Cheers, everybody.